to show us there is no unity. We've tried the whole black and brown unity. We tried to save the freaking African diaspora. At this point, we are fucking resting. We don't give a shit.
The Latino Hispanic community actually believed that African Americans, us, were immigrants.
As Latinos, we need to have more empathy for the Cubans being wrongly deported because no, we don't, okay? This is exactly what you wanted. Inadvertently, you voted for this, all right? I'm reminded of that little jingle. I will vote for Donald Trump.
Hi everyone, welcome back to Brilliance React YouTube channel. And today we are reacting on a hot button issue as deportation rates escalates. You have seen there's a heated conversation both online and in communities as to why the Black Americans are not yet being deported. Let's unpack. Kindly don't forget to subscribe, like, share and comment down below your opinion concerning this. Let's get to watch this video and I will come back with my conclusion and comment about this at the end of the video.
As Latinos, we need to have more empathy for the Cubans being wrongly deported because no, we don't, okay? This is exactly what you wanted. Inadvertently, you voted for this, all right? I'm reminded of that little jingle. I will vote for Donald Trump. And now that they're getting deported, I think, cogete a Donald Trump. You voted yourselves out. You voted your family members out by voting him in. You thought that it was only going to be los negritos, the ones that look like me that were gonna be, deported, okay? And no, see, I know a Cuban guy. I knew a Cuban guy up until last week. His name was Usnavi. And if you know Cubans, there's always one of them named Usnavi. When your name is literally spelled out U.S. Navy and you have U.S. agents cuffing you, y tú estás, ¿qué pasó? ¿Qué pasó? Que te vas pa'l carajo ahora, eh? And this dude was a janitor, but janitor in New Jersey, you can make a lot of money. He had a pickup truck. Él tenía su banderita gringa, tú me entiendes. He was very proud to be an American. Come to find out que te enviaron pa Cuba de nuevo. It's hilarious and at the same time it's upsetting. I've always gotten along con lo que no son niega raza. The people that are Latin, Caribbean, that don't deny their blackness. ¿Por qué? Because our ancestors over here in this country used to hang together. You understand? Julio Roldan, 1970. Look it up. The information's out there, all right? Cubans, you got that movie Scarface and it just put you on another fucking roller coaster of a ride in your mind. Te creía que the world is yours, chico? No, it's not. And by the way, Al Pacino ruined that movie and he ruined Carlito Way playing a Puerto Rican. And it wasn't me, by the way. I did not see Usnavi and say 1-800 hielo, 1-800 make the drinks cold. It wasn't me. It just so happened to happen that someone in his workplace didn't like him. They ratted him out. They got him at work, okay? That's crazy. It's insane porque he thought that they were only going to get the ones that didn't work. Motherfucker, they coming after you because it's easier to find the ones that are working than the ones that are not working. When people aren't working, you don't know where the fuck they at, okay? But when people are at work, it's easy to find them. Así que te cogieron. And I went to kindergarten. I'm sure most of us did. And I was always taught that the color orange meant danger. Cuidado, por ahí viene algo. Green meant go, ¿verdad? Pero since forever, orange has always meant stop, drop, precaution, mira para los lados, something's happening. So I would never vote orange. It could be another orange person that goes up and they want me to buy vote. No way, you orange, bro. I don't trust the color orange. That's the sign of a penitentiary. They put them in orange so that you can see them coming from a mile away. This motherfucker, his skin is telling you que viene por ahí, va a ser algo malo. Y como quiera la gente, no, ese es el mío. Cuba, you didn't see the writing on the wall? Like, you coming from a country where shit like this has happened, you didn't see like, oh yeah, this looks familiar. No. I guess el pen.
They love to sell immigration crackdowns like they're targeting the border. But borders aren't just lines on maps. They're drawn on skin color. And history already told us whose bodies get snatched first. So let's be clear. The new immigration orders aren't just going after people crossing the Rio Grande. Black immigrants are standing right in the crosshairs. And America is getting real quiet about it. So here's the truth they won't say out loud. Black immigrants make up less than 10% of the undocumented people in the U.S., but they make up over 20% of all deportation. Translation, if you're Black and foreign-born, you're twice as likely to be deported whether your papers are right or not. And it gets worse. Black immigrants are more likely to be detained longer. more likely to be denied asylum, more likely to be brutalized in detention centers. Because in a system built to criminalize Blackness, adding immigrant next to Black just makes you easier to disappear. And this isn't a new phenomenon. It's baked into American soil. Remember when thousands of Haitians were whipped on horseback in 2021? They weren't given court dates. They weren't given lawyers. They were deported, fast and dirty, while the cameras rolled. And that same energy is alive in these new policies. Sweeping raids, mass arrests, quick deportations with little to no due process. And when they kick in your door, they're not checking to see if your Blackness comes with a birth certificate. Because the truth is, ICE and Border Patrol, they don't see citizenship first. They see color. And if they can confuse you, intimidate you, or just decide that you look out of place, it can happen to you too. Documented, undocumented, it doesn't matter when fear and power take over. The new immigration crackdown is not just about illegal immigration. It's about controlling who gets to belong, who gets to breathe freely, who gets to stay visible. And if you think Black people are safe just because we are born here, you haven't been paying attention. In a country that once diagnosed wanting freedom as a mental illness, they don't need an excuse to erase you. Just an opportunity. Stay loud. Stay vigilant. Because when they start building walls, we're never as far from the target as they want us to believe.
Hey guys, quick observation. I think I found another piece of the puzzle when it comes to trying to figure out why the Latinos voted against their own interests. Latinos, Hispanics, all of them. I've been hearing these reports come in that the Latino Hispanic community actually believed that African Americans, us, were immigrants. And that all of this immigrant mass deportation of the immigrants, they were thinking, since we were the immigrants, that we would be the ones deported. Now, my first question is, how the hell did y'all come up with that African Americans are immigrants? We're not immigrants. We didn't come here on our own. We didn't cross any border on our own. We didn't do that. Excuse me. We were stolen. We were bought here. We were brought here. We are not immigrants because we were brought here and then our ancestors procreated. We are citizens. We've been in this country long enough that we are citizens. The immigrant status does not apply to us. And because you guys were so uneducated, and I don't know who you were listening to, but you believe anything when it comes to Black people. Your anti-Blackness egged you on to believe this foolery, that we're immigrants. Not once has African Americans been described as immigrants. Who told y'all that? And why the hell are you stupid enough to take their word? All you had to do was Google. Bam, right there. There's your answer. But it's been reported a lot of them really and truly honestly felt that way. And they thought we were the immigrants they were talking about. And because they have no love lost for us, they were cool with that. Yeah, I'm down with that. That's why that 68 or 78% of Latinos in Florida, that's why over 50% of the entire community voted for Trump, because they thought they were giving us the boot. We've been here a hell of a lot longer than they are, and they come here with the arrogance to think that they could help put us out. I have no empathy, sympathy, compassion, consideration, zilch, none, nada. It is now being proven, and even your own people are coming out snitching on y'all how y'all truly feel about the African American race. So now I'm gonna put it to you like this: If you don't want me, then don't talk to me. Please go ahead and free yourself. Quit running around here acting like y'all some kind of way cool with us, or thinking we should band together now that y'all ass is in the sling. No. Keep that same energy. What you thought you were putting on us, you were actually putting on yourself. So I'm gonna need you to keep that energy. We don't need anything else from you. We've got what we need. We know how you feel. We've heard your people testify how you were raised, how you were groomed to hate black people, to feel you were better than black people. And we do not forget the fact that you want to be so close to the white people, and you thought voting Republican would make them accept you, make y'all seem white, and it didn't. Because it don't matter what your skin look like. What you have not learned about the Caucasian race is that 1% of African American blood in you makes you African American, and that wasn't the term they were using when they came up with that. Just so that you know. So it doesn't matter how you look, because there's a bunch of us out there can pass just like you can. But the minute your heritage, the minute your DNA is discovered, baby, you back on the heap. So y'all learn the lesson the hard way. And for the record, no, sweetie, African Americans are not immigrants. Never have been, never will be. So that deportation stuff, that don't apply to us. See, we were the people here that helped you get here. Because without Amendment 14, you wouldn't be here. But you know, y'all always love. You always love to kill the goose with the golden egg, so to speak, when you just did that. We were your best allies. We were the closest thing you would ever find to a real friend in this country. But y'all sold yourselves out trying to sell us out. So, happy selling. Alright? And happy Friday. And before I get out of here, I got one last question. Since y'all know we are not immigrants, is it great again yet? Asking for a free.
Birthright citizenship is going away, and people want black Americans to put the capes on and care about them, and we don't give a shit. Because every time we need another group, including people from the African diaspora, what do? You find ways to shit on our freaking legends like the Buffalo Soldiers, Harriet Tubman, so many others. You find a way to come over and undermine us. You find a way to go in and get under white supremacists, and find a way to just constantly find a way to shit on us. To show us there is no unity. We've tried the whole black and brown unity. We tried to save the freaking African diaspora. At this point, we are fucking resting. We don't give a shit. Now, if I don't speak for you, that's fine. But I can guarantee you a good chunk of black America is sick of everybody's shit. So it don't matter if you come from the freaking diaspora or any other group. We don't care.
Y'all want to know what the fuck is ironic and what's really actually sick, if you actually analyze it and think about it? That the Cubans that sing, I will vote, are the same ones that can thank himself, Donald Trump, for deporting, statistically, in his first term, the most amount of Cubans from out of any U.S. president since the 1990s. This is an actual known fact and statistic. And isn't it ironic that it was a fucking Democrat, Lyndon B. Johnson, that in 1966 was the one to sign the Cuban Adjustment Act, allowing Cubans an easier and smoother route to get a green card here in the United States after being here for a year. And isn't it ironic that who they're singing about, Donald Trump, in his first term also in 2020, the amount of asylum approvals decreased all the way down to fucking 4% from previous years, which were about between 25 and 30%. Giving y'all some facts. These are facts. Isn't it ironic how Clinton, a fucking Democrat, was the one that enacted the wet foot, dry foot policy that allowed a fucking shit ton of them to come here and stay? And isn't it ironic that they don the flags, the Trump flags, on their boats and in front of their houses in Hialeah. But this is the same dude, the same piece of shit rapist that cut staffing at the US Embassy, making it exponentially harder for Cubans to get visas, and ended the Cuban family reunification program for them. And finally, in this present day and age, with what we're going through right now with these immigration raids in 2025, isn't it fucking ironic that they are still singing, "Ah, yeah, yeah, I will vote," but yet it's the Democrats that are still fucking fighting for them to fucking stay here. Meanwhile, a lot of their families and Cubans that have come fresh from Cuba are being rounded up in these ICE raids and taken away. And the only fucking people that are vouching for them and fighting for them strong and staying strong, fighting against these fucking criminals in this administration, are the actual fucking liberals and the Democrats that they so love to call comunista. Because again, as I have said in previous videos, they fail to fucking learn the system in this country, and they equate liberals and Democrats to communists for some fucking reason. Well, I know the fucking reason, because they refuse to fucking educate themselves, and in their brain, in their fucking mind, they're still living in Cuba, in the political system that they had in Cuba, no matter if they're in their 60s or 70s or 80s or 90s and shit like that. They refuse to fucking educate themselves and continue to equate liberal, Democrat, or anybody slightly either moderate or even left-leaning. They equate it automatically to communist because of the lack of education and just the pure fucking ignorance that's in the Cuban community. So meanwhile, the Democrats, even with all their flaws, because it's a heavily flawed political party in the United States regardless, they are still putting in the work and still fucking fighting for Latinos and for immigrant communities here in this country to stop this bullshit. Because the reality is that a lot of these raids and a lot of the bullshit that this administration is doing is unprecedented and has never been seen before on American soil, because of how dirty and nasty they're going about doing things. Not to mention, they are doing things so nasty and so wrong and so dirty that they are being sued left and fucking right, as they should. So Cubans, continue. If you want to keep living the way that you're doing and keep singing, I will vote for Donald Trump, keep doing what you're doing. But just know that y'all motherfuckers don't have a good reputation in the Latino community, because you keep supporting the same dictatorial bullshit that you and your families left Cuba for a better future. And you came here for a better future, to seek out a better future, and you're still doing the same fucking bullshit and repeating the same fucking mistakes that your previous fucking ancestors made. And that is why we are in this fucking mess. Please go fucking educate yourselves.
I don't want to hear your cries. I don't want to hear your complaining. I don't want to hear your coulda, shoulda, wouldas, because I don't feel no ways tired. I don't want to hear this is not what I voted for. This is exactly what you voted for. That man let you know time and time again that he don't fool up with black and brown people. And it's sad, because you yearning so bad to have proximity to whiteness made you turn a blind eye to the disrespect, made you feel like you were bigger than the program, made you feel like all the insults that he spewed against your people didn't apply to you. So now y'all want to act shocked and appalled because he done called the National Guard, everybody and they mama, to scrape you and your family members off the floor of LA. No better for it.
I voted for Trump and now I regret my vote. Let me explain. Please don't explain. Please, I beg, do not explain. Keep it to yourself. I don't care. I don't care. Don't explain. Because I voted the way I did because I cared about other women, other black women, other women in general. I cared about other immigrants. I care about low-income people. I cared about all of that because I was voting not only in the way that benefited me, but the way that benefited other people too. You voted based on the way that benefited you. You know what I mean? So we are not the same, because you don't have to explain yourself to me, because at the end of the day, if you didn't regret your vote, if somehow you were not at a deficit, you wouldn't regret your vote. I can tell you right now, if it came out that Kamala Harris had done anything illegal, anything wrong, as much as this man did, I would regret my vote easily, not because of any of her policies or anything, but simply because I don't want to vote for a horrible, shitty person. But you had no problem doing that, knowing all the facts. You vote the way you voted because you thought it would benefit you, but the moment it's not benefiting you, you regret your vote. I don't care. You keep that shit to yourself, and please do not tell me about it. Because at the end of the day, I don't give a shit. There are other people that will literally go through hell. Immigrants that will get sent home based on their horrible situations. There are women that will die. There are children that will continue to get hurt because of the way you voted. I don't care. Because the way you vote, it's already happened. I don't need an excuse. I don't need a sorry. I don't need to know why you regretted it. You made the decision that you made. Now it's time for you to stick beside them. All I do hope, though, is I hope the worst of the worst happen to you. Because at the end of the day, friend, you hoped the worst of the worst could happen to somebody else. And you voted the way that you voted, knowing that it would have. So now it is your turn. And I hope your karma kick your butt. But other than that, I don't give a shit. I don't care anything else. Like, I don't give a shit.
Doomsday, my people. How y'all feeling? Thugged out? Me too. Cheers. I think I be a little naive sometimes, trying to give people the benefit of the doubt intellectually. Because when the Hispanic Latino community kept saying to us, y'all will be next, y'all will be next, I promise you it never crossed my mind that they thought we were immigrants. I never thought that they were that dense. Never. Like, I thought when they were saying that, they were saying like, oh, once they're done with us, they'll be harassing you next. And that's why in all my videos, when I was speaking on it earlier on, I'm like, we know that, bitch. We always been the target. Like, I thought they was just saying we'll be targeted next. I had no idea they thought we were immigrants. That shit is comedy. Def Comedy Jam. Where y'all at? We need to reboot. Because what? Ain't no way. Ain't no way y'all that dense to have thought we was immigrants. Ain't no fucking way. I couldn't believe it. Now that I'm seeing all of these videos and the Hispanics and Latinos are confirming, like, yeah, a lot of the people in the community don't know that the history of Black Americans, and that they're not immigrants, and that some of them are indigenous, and that most of them came over here and are descendants of slaves. And I'm like, they didn't know that? What? And it's not like I'm thinking they should go research some history and culture that's not theirs. It's just, this is common knowledge.
Respectfully, I have a question for the Black community. Videos are getting on my nerves. You guys have a lot of smoke for Black people. I don't know. Y'all think of us as almost like the Avengers for civil rights, but for nothing else. And you didn't acknowledge us when we told y'all asses to remind you they had y'all in your kids in cages last time. I never thought y'all was this stupid. And I never thought y'all were this racist within the Latino community, that you would ignore the citizens that got the rights for you to be here and ignored them. But Latinos for Trump proved us wrong. And I just feel like it's so funny. Y'all feel safe enough to call out us, but you ain't saying nothing to MAGA, and you're not saying anything to the Asian community. I've not seen one video directed towards the Asian community to come together. They're minorities. Y'all forgot about them? Black people supposedly only make up 13% of this country year after year, which is, I don't believe it, but I think for the Latinos, and I have Latino people that I care deeply for, but if I did not know you before November 5th, I don't need to know you now. And I think that's what y'all don't understand. We don't need to come together with you. We tried to come together with you. We didn't vote for Kamala because she was Black. We voted for her because she was for democracy. at the most basic tenets. She wasn't going to rile you up and go to your children's graduations and break your car windows to drag you in front of your families out of this country. I mean, people like to talk about Obama deported more people than Trump can barely get. But we didn't see any of this, and social media existed. No one was saying they were being targeted or harmed in this way. No one said they weren't able to go to court. No one said they were getting shipped on planes to places they're not even from, sentenced to life imprisonment. Y'all risked y'all livelihood. And the people who are trying to come after us saying, what you think gonna happen once he done with us? We're citizens. Now, whatever they choose to do with that is what they choose to do. But we're citizens. Me and mine. We been here. We built the country. We built the White House. So, I mean, we got what we got too. You know, we gonna have to fight like we gotta fight. But we not fighting for you. Where were y'all during George Floyd and all of the protests that we had? I ain't seen any of y'all on the front lines. I'm not saying nobody showed up. I'm saying you didn't lead the protest. Stop calling our name. Stop calling our number. Your phone call should have been on November 4th to be there on November 5th. And if you can't call all y'all family members who voted for this, all y'all cousins, all y'all folks, because I didn't realize y'all had so much internalized hate in the immigrant community. I didn't know that was a thing, that people would be like, I got here the right way, and if you came here not the right way, I'm okay with you getting locked up. Black people don't do that shit, because I think the difference is we don't have no breakdown of Mexico, from Cuba, from Brazil, and if you take outside of the Black community, you have other, different communities that are immigrants. This is an immigrant problem. We're not immigrants. And I think that's what y'all forgot. Black people are not immigrants. We're citizens. So why y'all keep trying to come together with us? We really ain't your market. You really need to be coming together with other groups of immigrants. Because that's the problem. Immigration is the issue. We didn't mind you being here. We didn't mind you having the respect that you deserve. We didn't mind democracy working so that you could have a path here, because truth, I think the issue is that ultimately we don't owe you guys anything. And we still tried, and we didn't owe you. And you felt like you owed us nothing. And I do genuinely feel bad, because we're suffering too, guys. Like, they're removing our history. Like, we didn't build this whole nation. They're removing protections for our people, for our children's. They're removing support for education, for college degrees. We're not being unscathed, but we're citizens, and we can't help you with that, because we told you to not entrust yourselves to somebody that locked your kids up in cages the last time and banned your homelands. And I don't think it's fair. I don't agree with it. I think the U.S. has done a lot to damage other nations, and for them to have this attitude that they can reject the people that are suffering as a result of their actions, I think is vile. I don't think it's okay. I think it's vile that the way that they're treating people and the way that they are going about this is cruel and inhumane. And I don't think, ultimately, we're on a floating rock. I don't really think these arbitrary lines should mean people have to suffer in nations far from here, right? Just because, I ain't gonna even say we lucked up. People were more cruel and violent to people who were more open when they got here. Because technically, California is Mexico. We know it. I'm not disillusioned to the truth, right? But I'm not going out on nobody's front lines to fight for you when 50% of your population didn't see y'all as a group. So why the hell you think we gonna see you as a part of our team? We don't. Call Latinos for Trump. Call MAGA. Call out the Asian community and all the other communities that are immigrants. But Black people aren't immigrants. So we don't need to stand with you about immigration. You couldn't stand with us about democracy. Get out of here. I don't understand. Good luck. And I do genuinely mean that. I don't want y'all to suffer. I don't believe you should be harmed. I don't think it's fair. I think it's wrong. But I don't owe you my sweat, blood, and tears and sacrifice, or my children's, because you could not go in the voting booth and collectively do something very simple.
I have a slight aversion to the term African American. Language has the ability to form perspective. So when you have a group of people who are just as American as anybody else in this country, being referred to as African first, almost as if they are perpetually immigrants in their own country. It seems like it strips Black Americans who are 100% American and are just as American as white Americans. It almost feels like it strips them of their Americanness. It kind of invalidates, it kind of sends the idea that they're less American than perhaps their white counterparts. And this is why sometimes when Black Americans travel outside of America, sometimes sometimes people, foreigners in those foreign countries will ask them questions like, well, where are you from? Where are you really from? When a white American travels to those same countries, they aren't met with those same questions. They are viewed as the real Americans, right? They are the Americans. In everyday language, white Americans aren't referred to as European Americans. They are not referred to as something else. They are not labeled as a group that is from a different place other than America, even though they are European Americans. And I do feel like this is a part of the reason why there are immigrants, there are people who emigrate here, and they have such a lack of respect for Black Americans because they view being American as being white. That has a lot to do with a lot of things, but I do also think that partially it's also because of language. It's also because of labels. I think one of the reasons why they emigrate here and kind of pedestalize white Americans to the point where they joined in on the othering of the Black American community is because they view Black Americans as the others. There are white, there are the Americans, which are the white people, and then there are the others. And Black Americans are part of that other group. And the reason for this isn't solely because of a label that Jesse Jackson came up with in 1988. The contributing factors to this are really layered. However, I don't think terms like African American help. Instead, the term African American kind of perpetuates that Black Americans are not real Americans because they are African and then they're American. And the other group are the Americans because they are the Americans. And that's just not the case.
My perspective about this is that some Latinos thought the African Americans must be deported, but because they can't be deported because they are citizens of the USA by birth and naturalization, so the Latino people are so mad. This shows that there is colorism and racism that still exists in the community. You find out that even some Latinos are still using the N-word publicly, calling the Black people. And that's so rude and unkind of them. And they should treat everyone well and as a one community. And also, the Black community had warned them against voting for Donald Trump, but they didn't listen. They still end up voting for him. And now they are experiencing the consequences of their choices, which is voting for Trump. And one of the consequences is the massive deportation. As you have seen, the ICE department is taking away, deporting them, detaining them, and this has caused fear in the society and in the communities. Latinos are saying that the Blacks, the African Americans, are undocumented immigrants, and even they are saying, why are the Blacks not joining in the fight of the immigrants? And this has caused so much racial and white supremacy and high tension within the community, both communities. The Latinos are feeling like they are being haunted, like they are being targeted like animals, while the Blacks community, the African Americans, are being spared. This has sparkled an anger and frustration as to why the Black community is not being targeted or anything. Kindly consider subscribing, like, share, and thank you for watching.